Hey, welcome back. Coffee with Tracey. I'm your host, Tracey Osborne. With me today is Aisha Borel. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
We
You
just went
absolutely
over her
did.
name too, so I had to write it down. Aisha Borel. We're going to be talking about something today that is actually very near and dear to my heart, and it's want to finally finish what you start. So I cannot wait to dive into this because I have shiny project syndrome. So Aisha is a personal creativity coach for busy creatives who want to get organized, finish
Hmm.
what they start, and stop being distracted by all the little things in life. So welcome
Yeah.
to the show.
Hey, Tracy, thank you. Thank you for the welcome.
All right, let's dive into this because, man, how did we finally get things finished?
Right. Yeah, I know. There's so many different things. And I know myself personally, growing up with ADD, and this is back in the 80s, so I'm totally telling my age, whatever. But growing up with ADD, and this is the time where, teachers were just like, okay, there was no such thing as ADD or anything like
Right.
that. It was just, you're just being distracted, you're not paying attention. And so in college, it was like, man, I could either flunk out of college or I could try to like learn how to pass my classes. So, it just became one of those things where it's just like learning little hacks here and there, picking up, skills. And it's like, okay, if I do this, then I can remember more things. And so it's just one of those things that's so just kind of like grown on me as far as all the different things that I can do to help get things done and stop being distracted by, yes, the shiny, the
Shiny
little
project.
squirrel. Yeah, shiny projects and
Oh,
the
the
squirrel
squirrel.
syndrome. Exactly. Yeah, so,
The attention span of a goldfish.
oh my gosh. Yeah.
I say that about my children quite often.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I've got a 6-year-old and a 6-month-old. And it's just like, oh my gosh, child.
Yeah,
Between those two, it's just like, oh man, you guys' attention span, we got to expand those.
I know. I have teenagers, and they're just as bad.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So what got you started as a creativity coach? How'd you get on that path?
Yeah, creativity coach actually is something that I recently started calling myself. And
Okay.
so transitioning, I've went to school for graphic design and have always been a designer or an artist in one way or another. And so one of the things I was noticing is, more and more people starting to come to me and asking me for either design help or freelancing help. And I'm kind of the type of person where I'd rather like show someone how to do it if they're able to, if it's like, okay, you've got a computer, you've got InDesign on your computer.
Right.
Let's use that to put together your book. Or you've got PowerPoint, you can make a book in PowerPoint. Let's do that. So it was a lot of just like literally standing over someone's shoulder and showing them how to put their book together using whatever platform they had or how they could put a flyer together. And, sometimes I do the work myself, especially various jobs, but most of the time I was coaching people. And so now people come to me and they're like, hey, Aisha, I need some branding advice. Or, I'm an entrepreneur and I got my website that I'm working on. How can I make it look better? How can I, stay on track or whatever? So I'm just like, okay, I need a new name for this because graphic designer is not
Not
cutting
gonna
it
cut it.
anymore. Yeah, so it's creativity coach. It's like, okay, I've got tons of skills, whatever you need, let's get your creations created instead of just, on the back burner
I
for
like that.
someday.
So what kind of people would actually come to you?
Yeah, I have a lot of entrepreneurs who are more of the DIY entrepreneurs. So the people who are wanting to do it themselves.
Me.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I got limited funds and I'm going to have to do a lot of this work myself. So those are the people that will come to me. So one of my clients, she's like, she had her husband take some really nice brand photos for her when they were on vacation. So she was just like, hey, I need, I've got these photos. Will you help me look through them? I did. And so I'll be doing a little bit of editing of her photos later,
Mm-hmm.
just so, they look really professional and, I can blur the background so it looks nice and you just jazz them up a bit. Or even like sometimes she'll come to me and, I'll help her along with just like, for example, she calls it bringing out her sexy.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so, I'll help her do that. And that's just basically a term for, fully expressing, herself and not being scared to like put color up on her website, or, you know, photos that show more of her instead of, you know, like stiff head and shoulders pictures. So that's some of the stuff that people have come to me for.
Fun. I
Yeah.
love that. Bringing out your sexy. I've got to do something. That is too fun. To write a blog post or something about that.
Right, exactly.
So what are some steps that people like me can take? So, you know, let me give you background. I'm the kind of person where I have a bunch of different craft projects started,
Yeah.
half done, various stages. I have ideas, and I'll get an idea for something, and I'll just start. I don't even flush it out. It's like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'll go buy a domain. I start working on a website, and then it never. I'm like, okay, maybe not so much. So what are some steps that someone like me could take that suffers from shiny project syndrome?
Yeah.
Because I think for me, it's the excitement of, oh, this is something new. It's kind of like that dating, that first stages of dating when you're all
Right.
excited. And
Right.
I think it's kind of like that. And then after you start getting into it, it's like, maybe not so much.
Yeah, not so much. Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the things that you can do, and I'll just confess, I do the same thing. So I am absolutely not beyond.
I think we all do.
You know, it's like I was looking at my website domains last night, and it's like, oh my God, I have like 10 at least that I've never done anything with.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, it's it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, we have so many ideas, and I think it's great. So we've got to be able to, you know, one, have a place to capture all of our ideas. And so that way, you know, we know that we've got them in a place, we can come back to them when we need to. So one of the things I use are notebooks. I absolutely love notebooks for capturing everything. You know, so I'll write down an idea, or, you know, if I don't have a notebook on me, I've got my phone, and I'll start typing in a note. Or like, I love Evernote, so I've got tons of ideas running in there. Okay. So having a place to put your ideas is great. So if you've got an idea for a domain name, I definitely would suggest purchasing a domain name since there's so many out there, and it's like, yeah, you absolutely have to grab it. I mean, like,
it's just a few bucks, and if you decide not to do anything with it, you don't have to renew it. So I'm always snagging up domain names.
Oh yes, same thing. And one of the things I bought the other day, and last night I was on GoDaddy trying to find a mind map course, because I was like, I need that domain name, and I'm like, oh my God, someone bought it. What? And then I realized when I went through my domains that I was the one that had bought it like months ago.
Oh, that's hysterical. That's so funny.
Yeah. So, you know,
my gosh.
Another tip that you can do is, when you have those ideas, purchase them in the moment, or buy them in the moment, or write them down in the moment. The other thing too is that, like, I've got my huge mind map up here in the background.
I'm glad you brought that up. I've been dying to ask you about that.
Yeah, it's just this like crazy array of excitement, and it goes from the ceiling all the way down to the floor. Wow. All like pretty much wrapped around my office. But so another thing that you can do is to, you know, mind map out your ideas, draw them down, and put them up somewhere so that you can see them. So when you do say you're in the beginning stages of forming your business, you've got all these ideas that are disjointed. That way you can start to kind of bring them together and see how different things connect with one another. So that's another tip that you can do, is to, you know, just start looking at all your ideas, put them down on a note card, or create a really big mind map, and just start connecting them. That way you can see what's, you know, of value right now that you should be focusing on, and what's not. And another thing, tip two, is to, you know, prioritize. You know, it's like, okay, what do I need to get done now? So, you know, it might be a website, it might be a blog post, it might be whatever it is that you're focused on. You know, decide, okay, what comes next? And then do that one thing.
Right.
And, you know, go back to it if you need to. And then, you know, work on some other items later that have, you know, nothing to do with anything right now. It's just like, these are ideas, like my book that I'm kind of playing with, but I'm not ready to write it.
Sure. Yeah. I have to run everything by my coach.
Yeah.
He's like, before you act on anything, run it by me. And then he asked me questions. Okay. What is this going to do now that these other projects that you're currently working on won't do? Or how are you going to monetize this? How is this going to bring money into your business. So he kind of plays devil's advocate and asks me these questions, and it's like, okay, yeah, sounds cool and everything, but we'll table this for later. Or
Yes.
I'm going to do this. We did this with the podcast. I've been saying I want to bring Coffee with Tracey back. And what is this going to do now that all these other things that you're working on won't do? And finally I got to the point I said, I'm bringing the freaking podcast back.
Yes.
I know that the time is still, the time is never going to be perfect, but it's as good as it's going to get. My business is going great. Personal is going great. I'll never have to put the show on hiatus again. I want to do this for a creative, fun outlet for me, so I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But, having somebody to bounce these ideas off of, really kind of helps me to say, okay, yeah, that one I don't need to do right now. Maybe I'll, that's never really going to actually work. Or, I'm going to do it. I don't care what you say.
You're right.
It's my life, my world. So I'm going to do it anyway. So, let's talk a little bit about mind maps, because I've tried mind maps. I've never been able to figure out, what am I supposed to do with these suckers? And maybe it's because I'm not doing it right, but it's like, okay, you have your main idea, and then you have all these offshoots, but mine don't look like yours do in the background.
Yeah.
Mine aren't that cool.
Right. It's with mind mapping, that's one of the things I notice is either people aren't familiar with it, or if they are, they're just like, I don't get it. So let me actually show you something, because I'm very, very visual. In my office, I'm just going to adjust this little camera. In my office, other than having this ginormous, mind map that goes top to bottom, but I also have this mind map too right here. Let me. There we go.
Whoop.
All right.
There we go. Now we got it.
Okay, perfect. So I've got this mind map right here, and this is a whiteboard that's 4 feet by 3 feet. So I've got in here why creativity is crucial for your success as an entrepreneur. And so I'll put a central image in the center, in the middle, and my topic. And then I'll have all kinds of ideas and so forth, streaming outward from there. So these are a list of things that, like, this is my to-do list for the week. And so, I got like about 90% of it done, but I wanted to kind of visually show you guys how it's all these different ideas just coming out, going throughout the system, and springing outward from there. So now that you kind of see that,
is really
I'll explain it a little bit more. So
I'm over here looking at walls going, where can I hang stuff?
Yes, absolutely.
And what's really cool is you can buy the chalkboard paint.
Yeah, and that's what that is.
Dry erase, is it?
Yes.
I actually think I have some, or the dry erase paint. So you can actually paint a wall instead of having to go out and get something, or a door or something like that. So go ahead and explain more. This is fun.
So with my whiteboard that I have over here, like I said, one of the things I did was I started with a central image in the middle. And for me, it was why creativity is crucial for your success as an entrepreneur. That was a blog post and different ideas that I wanted to be able to work on this week. And so then just streaming out where it's like, okay, what do I need to do to be able to fully get this done? So it's like, okay, I need to create an image for that. So I put out a main branch and I, added an image on it. I put out another main branch. Okay, I want to do something on Facebook with it. I definitely want to write my blog post. And so the blog post led me to thinking, okay, I need to be able to, get my Divi site in just the right structure that I wanted. So I had all these different ideas because that's the way I think, which is why I love mind mapping. It's different than those bullet point lists that are just like A, B, C, D, and they're just kind of boring. And then, you end up with something that's over here, but it really should be under point 2. And, stuff like that bothers me. But with a mind map, it radiates from the center out. So if you have ideas that are all over the place, like, that shiny project syndrome, usually you're, extremely creative as far as the way that you think. And so it's a great way to organize your thoughts, and you can see the details and the big picture all at once. So last night I was going through this and I was literally checking things off my list because I put this together on Monday and I'm like, have I taken on too much? Especially with the kids on spring break, having a 6-month-old and my husband working too, a couple of jobs and so forth. So I'm just like,
I remember the days well.
Can I get all this done? It's like, well, I'm sure as heck going to try. So it's just like, okay, I got 90% of it done because I created a mind map that worked for me. So when I had an idea that was just like, okay, I need a really great headline, I could put it in the spot that it fit. So when I could put another thing somewhere else and erase ideas, and then now it's just like, okay, I can see exactly where I'm at right now and what needs to be done next.
So you don't find that it's kind of chaotic?
It is chaotic. It is absolutely chaotic.
Organized chaos?
Yeah, it's completely organized chaos. And so, and I find that all right, because even though it's chaotic, and that's another thing about mind maps, is that, say to another person, like looking at it, it's just like, oh my God, that's just too much. But when you're the one that's creating your own mind map and you're putting it together, it makes complete sense. So it works with the way that you work. So if you're more of an idea everywhere kind of person, then that's what your mind maps are going to look like mine. If you're more of a structure, then it's maybe going to go in a clockwise position and everything is going to be just so. And that's how you can make it. But mind maps are personal for each person.
Maybe that's why mine never worked, because I wasn't doing it the way I was supposed to. I was doing it the way people told me I should. So you had your circle, and then you have a line to a box, and then the line goes to another. And so there's no right or wrong way to do this, right?
No, there's not. And there's a lot of people like Tony Buzan is the guy who, invented mind mapping, although it's been out there for a while, but he's got a guy that mainstreamed it. Mm-hmm. So he's come up with a lot of rules for how mind maps should be created. And it's just like, I don't want to do all that. That's just too many rules. Instead, I'd rather just make it work for me. So that's how my mind maps are. And the ones that, when I teach someone how to create mind maps, that's how I teach them. So it's just like, okay, begin with whatever you have. Start with your idea in the middle and then just spring outward. If you're a person who wants to, make it really pretty and use color, then do that. If you want to use black and white, do that, whatever. Don't be restricted. Just get your ideas out there and start connecting them. Because at the end of the day, the universal factors about mind mapping is that it's all about images and associations. So you've got an image in your mind that you want to do. You have something that you want to create, and you put your ideas out there. Now you start having one idea leads to another idea, which is over here, and another idea and another idea. And then you start to see how all those things connect together. And so when you're a creative type of person, you have a lot of things going on, lots of different projects. It's like, oh, wow, this idea connects with that idea. And that gives me new ideas for something completely else, completely different that I never even thought of. Actually, Creativity Coach, one of the reasons I came to that was through mind mapping out my business. So this is like the third iteration of my wall that I've had. Because it's like, okay, I really need to get clear with this. Who it is that I'm serving? What is it that I'm doing? So it's just like, okay, mind maps kind of got me closer, and then I had another idea, and then that made a new mind map, and then another one is just like, even though I was getting bigger in my contracting, I was also starting to, get really small in my thinking and know exactly, what it is that I was doing. So it's that convergent and divergent thinking all at once going on.
You've got my wheels spinning over here. You see these faces I'm making. This is me going. I'm about to write a book. So what I did with my last book, I was stuck because I tried to just go from start to finish and write the page to page end, right?
Yeah.
And that didn't work so well for me.
Right.
So I was talking to my coach about it, and that's why it took me 2 years to write this book, because I would start and like. So he came up with the idea. Somebody else that had done it, he had seen where you have and this is kind of the same thing, but you have like a one colored sticky note, so like a yellow sticky note, and that's the topic of the book. Mm-hmm. And then you just start brain dumping, and on other colored sticky notes, you just start writing whatever comes to your mind. Mm-hmm. And then you use that to kind of organize. And that's how I wrote my book. And I did this, and I put it up on a big poster board and sat it, organize it by sections, common themes, common thoughts. And I put it up in front of my computer, and I got on my phone and on my bridge line one day, and I sat there for like 2 or 3 hours and just looked at these sticky notes and talked about whatever was on that sticky note. And that's how I wrote my book. And that's how I was going to write my next book. But now I'm kind of thinking maybe this might be something even better. So I'm going to have to play with that. Now, does it matter what size? I mean, can we just do it on a regular piece of paper?
Oh my gosh, yeah, you don't have to be like insane.
You don't need like a full wall. I'm just thinking my desk is in the bedroom, and I could just see me going, honey, we're gonna paint this wall with chalkboard paint. He's gonna be like, yeah, no, we're not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's you don't have to like get insane like I am. And I just have it everywhere because I'm like, this is my personal office. I can do whatever I want with it. So this is the only place that I can like have full insanity. However, for normal people, an 8.5 by 11 or A4 size piece of paper is perfectly adequate.
Or something. Okay.
Yeah, or and you can do whatever works for you. So if you want, you can go to the art store. You can get massive 18 by 24 inch paper, or you could just get notebooks. And I'll totally create a mind map in like a little 5 by 6 notebook. It doesn't matter. It's like I've got a pen and I've got a piece of paper in front of me, and I'm going to write out my ideas so that I don't lose it, and that's what's important. So yeah, as far as with books and completing your book, I absolutely suggest doing mind maps. That is how I was able to write my small book. I've got a book out there called 10 Habits That Fuel Creativity, and I absolutely did a mind map for that. My course, I've been wanting to create like an online course for about 5 years now. And I finally, just this June, I was like, okay, I'm absolutely going to create one now. And so I was just like, I'm going to create a mind map for it. And that's what I did. I mind mapped out different sections. I did it on a computer so I could go as big and as expansive as I needed to on bullet points and just dig into some areas. So that's what I did. So if I had an idea for, okay, so my course is all about mind mapping, and I want to explain to people exactly what is a mind map and how can they be used. I could drill into each little point and then expand outward from there. And then when I exhausted my ideas there, I could completely jump to a different area instead of going a linear route, which don't work for creative-minded people. We don't think from point A to B. It's all over the place.
I have this picture wherever I stuck it. I know I put it up on Facebook at one time, and I think I used it in a blog post or something. Or no, I used it in the webinar I did the other day. But it's a picture and it says success, what I think it looks like or something like that, and it's just a straight arrow.
Yeah.
What it really looks like, and it's like the starting point, and it's all squiggly, and
Yes.
and that's exactly what it is. It's hard to go from point A to point B on everything, because even when I sit down to write a blog post, I'll have an idea in mind, but then as I start writing, it may just be completely different by the time I'm done.
Right. Exactly. And you need to allow your brain to do that. A lot of people, they fight it. They're like, well, I was supposed to be writing about this topic, and now instead they're writing about this completely different topic. It's like, okay, well then go with that one. Keep this one over here in a different section, in a different note, because you might come back to it. But go with that idea. So that's one of the things that I've definitely learned how to do is, instead of trying to, fight my ideas, it's like, no, go ahead and explore what it is that I want to explore. It's kind of like the Montessori strategy for an adult. Those Montessori schools and so forth, where you let the kids learn, and it's like, okay, they're really interested, and my daughter like totally loves my chapstick these days, and I bought one for her, but she wants mine. And so it's like, child, so it's like, okay, fine, it's like the same with adults. It's just that we don't allow ourselves to do that anymore. It's like, if this is what you want to explore and do and makes you feel good, then it's not hurting anyone. Explore it. And that way you can totally like dive into a subject and maybe even learn something new about your business, about yourself, from just getting, crazy with the topic.
Yeah, absolutely. So how important is it, or, what should we do with, we've got all these half-started projects.
Yes.
What do we do with them now? Yeah. Because I know for me, it feels like it pulls my energy. It's like, gosh, I've got this thing started. I probably should finish it. I really don't want to. I just, I don't feel like it. So, what do we do with all that?
Yeah, and one of the key things you said, Tracy, was it pulling your energy. And so these half-started projects, they definitely do that. It's like energetic leaks
Mm-hmm.
out of your boat. And that's where coaching really comes in handy. Like you've mentioned that you have a coach. You know, even though I'm a creativity coach, I also have a coach.
Coaches and coaches. I mean, I'm a business coach, and I don't
Yeah.
know it all. I need someone to keep me on track.
Exactly. And that's the thing is that, we've got to be able to know what drains our energy. And
Right.
if we don't know, a lot of people sometimes, when we're starting out, we're not quite sure and we don't understand why we don't have any energy to finish our projects. And that's where, like I said, the coaching comes in handy. The other thing too is just notice areas where you feel drained. So if you've got this idea, with me, I've been thinking about creating a course for 5 years. That was a huge energy suck.
Yeah.
Some of the ideas I have, it's like, yeah, I kind of want to do that, but then they'll fizzle away and they never come back. Other things, it's like, man, this is like really becoming a huge like lump with me that I'm carrying around. I either just have to say, one, I'm not going to do it, or two, I'm going to figure this stuff out. And
Right.
that's what I did. I decided to go ahead and figure out how to do it. So as far as those half-started projects, you've got to be able to look at them. And it's like, what are the three things that are really pulling on you? Do you really want to see if you can take your business to the next level this year? Is that something that you think about when you wake up in the morning? When you go to bed, does it keep you up at night? Another thing might be, it's like, okay, well, I want to write that book that I have. I've always wanted to write about, XYZ, and, that drains me. Well, then you have to do it. You have to get to the point where you say, I am going to focus on this and get really serious about what it is that you're creating no matter what. So
Right.
when you can whittle three things down to one thing, and since we get distracted, it's so easy for us to go on tangents, creative people. It's like if we just do one thing and then do that well and get that knocked off our list, then we start to feel like energetic. And then we have energy to complete even more things. So instead of being drained by our projects, we're given energy by them. And so it's like, okay, I've got this website. I got a couple things done with it. I feel good. Let me see if I can kind of mess with that course that I've had over here, or that other item, whatever your three items are, just cycle between them, and definitely get one thing done, decide what that is, and get it done full speed. So if you don't know how to do it, then there's so many resources out there. That's one of the things I love about being born in this day and age. I mean, is that, in the 80s, we didn't have anything. You had to go to the library and look stuff up. Those awful, index cards. And I was just like, oh my God, this is
The Dewey
awful.
Decimal System.
Oh, it kept me away from libraries for years. But
Right.
nowadays, if I have an idea, I can be in bed and I can be on my phone and literally looking up an idea, buying a domain name, whatever it might be, researching an idea for my
I
book.
email myself all the time.
Yes, yes. So you can be doing that. It's just like, it's so easy to create these days.
Right.
It's so easy to, if we don't know something, then we can buy a course. We can ask a friend. We can ask Google. There's tons of people out there who are qualified and unqualified to answer questions.
We all have opinions and we love to give them.
Yes, and we can start to see, okay, well, I'm starting to see this pattern with opinions that are out there.
Right.
So maybe let me test and see if that's true or not. Does it work for me? So it's just we're in a great day and age to be able to do so much, and we're moving into an even better day as far as technology is concerned, being able to get our ideas out there. We are self-publishers. We can create our own videos using our phones. There's just so much that we can do that there's little reason why we shouldn't be doing it,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Awesome. This is some really, really cool stuff. One question I wanted to ask you, back to mind maps really quick, is what do you think of mind mapping software? That was
Yeah.
I've tried it and I'm like, ugh, this takes forever.
I know. And I've gone through about 5 or 6 different mind mapping softwares out there. And I'm just like, who created this? It's like, you know, it's created by someone who does not think the way that I think. And so one of the things I just went through and tried different like free softwares and trials to see what works for me. So, you know, I would definitely suggest doing that. Mind mapping software is okay. I like MindNode. Yeah, it does work for some people. I know that I found MindNode, which is a Mac only platform, and it's only available on the Apple, you know, systems. And so, but that works for me. But what works for me the most is actually getting out and taking, you know, a load of markers or crayons or chalk, whatever it might be, and taking a piece of paper and writing it down, writing my ideas out there, because then I start to engage more of my senses. You know, a lot of times we're having trouble creating because we're too much in front of the technology that we love.
Right.
And you just need to step away. You just absolutely need to step away and just get old fashioned with it. Get a piece of paper out, get a pen, whatever you've got lying around, and just draw, because then we start to move into a different state of mind. You know, we start to engage our senses to where it's like, okay, we're writing an idea and we start to kind of lose ourselves. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, being, you know, having so many ideas out there. It's just like, you know, you're like one with whatever it is that you're creating. And so, you know, technology sometimes gets in the way of that. And so even like if you're writing a book and you're just like staring at a blank screen, you're just like, I can't get this done. You're deleting everything. Step away from the computer. Get out a piece of paper and don't worry about if you spell things wrong. I mean, one of my journals, oh my God, if someone went through my journals, it would be just like bad handwriting and lots of grammatical errors.
People tell me I should be a doctor. My handwriting's so poor.
Yeah, so get a notebook and start writing it out as fast as you can, your ideas or whatever. That way you cannot be stopped by technology as far as creating. And then when you're in a place where you're like, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing, then jump back on the piece of technology if that's what you need. Jump back on the computer, create your PDF, your book, write it down, you know, put it in draft version, whatever. And if you get stuck again, move away.
Love it. Love it. All right, good stuff. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any final thoughts, any final tools that we should be thinking about to help us finish these unfinished projects that are looming over our heads?
Yeah, definitely. Other than, you know, really getting conscious about where your energy is being drained. Another thing too that I see, another tip is, you know, you've got to be willing to just sit there and be in pain with your creations.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of like, you know, it's like when you have an idea and it's ready to be seen by the world. Sometimes it's really boring and painful to get it out. I mean, sometimes there's nothing you can do. You've stepped away from the computer, you've gone back, but you've got this deadline that is looming over your head, and it's not stopping. And so you might not feel like getting something done, but you've got to push through. So sometimes you just gotta stay with it and push through it.
The other day I was creating my slides for my webinar.
Yeah, and slides. Oh my God, PowerPoint is the worst.
I didn't want to do it, but I put it off to the last minute. I had no choice. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's got to get done. So
had to get done.
Sitting there and just doing it. You know, a lot of creativity and getting things done is not pretty. It's just those quiet hours of listening to your inner critic, yelling your ear, you know, what the F are you doing? This is awful. No, I can't believe it. You waited to the last minute to get this done, whatever. You know, and it's just like, you've got to learn to work in those noisy environments where it's like all these different aspects of yourself are coming out. And, you know, not cooperating, it's just like, okay, I've got to get this done, and that's just it. You know, so even though I'm bored, even though I can't write anything and the stuff that I'm writing sucks, I will tell people, write it anyway. Literally, just write it anyway. You know, getting it done is better than having it be perfect. So just do it. And then you can tweak it later, put it out there and see what people think. You know, get your website out there, get your book out there, and then, you know, rewrite, you know, parts of it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I just recently rebuilt my website and I'm going back and changing it already. I mean, it just changes as you, new thoughts, new things, new ideas, whatever. And,
Exactly.
a good tip is for writing, especially if you're stuck. I've had clients who I will send them, I will write their emails or whatever it is for them, and they completely rewrite it.
Yeah.
They don't, I mean, they tear it apart and completely rewrite it, and that's okay. They just needed that getting it started.
Yes.
So if that is something for you, have a VA or somebody get it started for you, and that kind of starts that creativity flow as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because it's like, man, this is awful. I could have done better than this.
Right?
And then you do way better.
Exactly. And you just need that kick in the seat to get going. So
Yeah. Yeah.
awesome. All right, Isha, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciated
Absolutely.
it. Listeners, thank you again for tuning in. All right, we'll catch you on the next show, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.